Hi everybody, welcome back to Smarta.
With Marta.
We are here for the answers portion of expanded form subtraction part 2. So,
if you don't have your work done, get out. You're in the wrong place. Pause this, go back to the other one, do the lesson, and do your homework, and then come back. We'll be waiting for you.
we'll wait patiently. We can wait as long as you need us to. But in the meantime, while we wait, let's tell some jokes.
Let's do shout outs first.
That's a good idea. Shout outs
All right.
first.
I'm going to do my shout out today to Sienna. Sienna's been doing all of her province pages. She just sent her Nova Scotia and New Brunswick ones to me this week. And she always has the most interesting facts.
Unique
ones that I haven't seen. One fact she had, I can't remember if it was Ontario or Quebec, I think it was Ontario, that if you stay in a hotel and you can't pay your bill, they can take your horse and sell it.
And I said, lucky I don't have a horse.
Yeah, that sounds crazy to me. She also told me, I think it was Nova Scotia, they had something like 67 kissing bridges.
Whoa.
And then I was like, what are kissing bridges? But then she told me they're covered bridges, and she thinks maybe they named them that because teenagers might go in there and kiss.
Want to go to Nova Scotia?
No, thank you.
My shout out this week or this lesson goes to Avery for 2 reasons. Number 1, this video is being loaded up on Sunday night, right? Yes, Sunday night. You're likely viewing it Monday morning if you're on track. But when we're loading it is Sunday night, and Sunday night or Sunday is Avery's birthday. It's May 31st is Avery's birthday. So happy birthday, Avery, on today.
Happy birthday, Avery.
On this video being loaded. And the other reason I'm shouting out to Avery is because Avery does a really good job of at least once a week. She and her dad or mom send me her math lessons religiously. They're there every week. And the last one she did was math video number 25. It was subtraction with rounding up that Mrs. Marta taught. And Avery did a really great job including all the challenge questions and showing all her work, how she's rounding up the bottom and the top. Same, and wonderful job, Avery.
Great job, Avery. I like that you're doing the challenge questions, stretching your brain. All right, jokes. Ready for this one? What do you call a number that can't stay in place?
What do you call a number that can't stay, Mr. Marta?
No, are you a number?
Number 1.
What do you call a number that can't stay in place? A Roman numeral. Get it? Like a roaming.
Oh, it's roaming.
And remember, Roman numerals look like this.
So this is 1 to 10 in Roman times. This was their numeric system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
A Roman numeral.
A Roman numeral. Nice. All right. Okay, so did you hear about the students who were afraid of negative numbers?
Afraid of negative numbers?
Yeah. They'd stop at nothing to avoid them. If you don't quite get that one, if these are your, upside down, if this is your number line and you don't like negative numbers, what do you do, Mrs. Marta? You start at the positive.
And you're hopping along and you get to here.
That's nothing.
They'd stop at nothing.
To avoid these negative numbers.
Those were 2 pretty complicated math jokes. I hope you thought they were funny.
Excellent. What are we on to now? The lesson? Or the answers?
The answers. We're going to meet you over at the easel.
So, go back and do your work if you haven't finished, and we'll meet you at the easel right now.
I'm assuming if you made it this far that you have your work done already.
Right.
Okay.
Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to the answers video for subtraction with expanded form, negative numbers. If you haven't done your work, go back and do this, or pause and do them now, because here we go. So 43 minus 17, we know we are in the ones column, tens columns. We start in the tens column. We have 1, 0, and a 10. How many tens do we have? Well, we start with 4 minus 1. Well, 4 minus 1 is 3. I have 3 tens left. So far I've got 30. 3 minus 7. Well, I can see that the negative number 7 has a greater value than the number on top, so I know it's going to be a negative. Let's see the differences. 7 minus 3 is 4. And again, you could use the number line, start at 3, take away 7, you'll end up on minus 4. Now you got 30 minus 4. You could do Mrs. Marta's way of make 10. You know the friendly fact for 4 with 10 is 6. So you know you're going to end up with 6 over here. That 6 and 4 make your first 10. You need 2 more 10s to make the 30, so you're at 26. Me, myself, I do 26 plus 4 is 30, the way I did it before. Either way, as long as you get that 26 with expanded form, you're good. Here we go. 62 minus 29. Again, ones column, tens column, starting in the tens column. Put that 0 in place for 1, 0, and 10. We start with 6. We take away 2. We end up with 6 minus 2 is 4. We're on to 2 minus 9. Well, again, this minus has a greater value than that 2, so it's going to be a negative something. What's the difference between 9 and 2? 9 minus 2 is 7. Or like I said before, Mrs. Marta said before, you can start at 2, count backwards 9 on the number line, and you end up at minus 7. 40 minus 7. Some of you might do the trick I do. Okay, how much do you need to add the 7 to make 40? I can see that's going to be 33, which is the similar version of Mrs. Marta's. That 7 and 3 is your family fact of 10. That makes 10, and you need to get to 40, so you need 30 more, 33. So far, so good, Mrs. Marta?
So far, so good.
All right, 86 minus 38. Ones column, tens column. Starting in that tens column again. 8 minus 3, you should have come up with 5 tens or the number 50 there. And we have minus 8 and 6. So the negative is greater, the greater value, so it's a negative answer. Difference between 8 and 6 is 2. 8 minus 6 is 2. This one, probably don't even need to do a make 10 one. You just count backwards in your head real fast from the number line. 50, 49, 48. Or if you like making that 10, or adding, that 2 and the 8 make 10, and you need 40 more to make 50. So there you are, 48. Going on to our last part of grade 2 work, the harder ones for grade 2. 33 minus 14. Ones column, tens column. So let's start that tens column. We have 1, 0, and 10. How many tens? We start with 3. We take away 1. We're left with 2 tens, or 20. We're on to the ones column. 3 minus 4. Well, the negative number has a greater value than that positive, so it's going to be negative. What's the difference between 4 and 3? 4 minus 3 is 1. What's 20 minus 1? Count backwards once, it's 19. On to the fifth of 6 questions. 58 minus 29. Ones column, tens column, okay? Tens column, what is? 5 minus 2 is 3. We have 30. And we have minus 9 and 8. So 8 minus 9, well, that 9 is a greater value, so it's going to be a negative, because the negative 9 is a greater value than that 8. What's 9 minus 8? Well, that's 1. Or you can start on the number line at 8, countward back 9, because 8 to 8 more is 0, and 1 more is minus 1. 30 minus 1? 29. 1 less. Final one for grade 2 questions. 77 minus 49. Ones column, tens column. What? We started at the 0 for the 10. Done. How many tens do we have left? We start with 7. We take away 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. We go to the ones column. We start with 7. We take away 9. I can see that's going to be not minus 2. My brain did that because I see the negative is the greater value, so I made a negative, and 9 minus 2 is 2. So we have negative 2. Or you can start on that number line. 7, take away 9. You end up on minus 2. 30 minus 2, I simply can just see it's 2 less than 30, which is 28.
Some people also might like put 2 dots on the paper and just count back 30, 29, 28.
Yeah, exactly. So what she's saying is you put 2 dots on, you start at 30, 29, 28. So whatever works for you. Okay, challenge questions. These were optional because they are grade 3 work. Well, we're going to solve them right now. The only difference between grade 3 subtraction negative numbers and grade 2 is we're now introducing the hundreds column. Everything else is pretty well the same. Follow the same rules. Start on the left and work your way. So we start on the left. We have ones, tens, hundreds. So start in the hundreds column. We have 2 zeros and 100. 4 minus 1. Well, 4 minus 1 is 3, which means I'm left with 300. We know that's right because 400 minus 100 is 300. We're now in the tens column. Don't forget that 0 for the 10. How many tens do we have? 7 tens minus 5 tens. 7 minus 5 is 2. So we have 2 tens left, which is 20. We're in the ones column, and here's where that negative number creeps in. That 9, which is the negative value, has a greater value than that 2. So the answer is going to be negative in the ones column. What's the difference between 9 and 2? 9 take away 2 is 7. Or you can start on the number line. You start at 2, count backwards 9. You end up on minus 7. Now, we got to solve this. And as Mrs. Marta said in the last lesson, we like getting rid of that negative sign first. And just make it a lot easier. You could add 300 plus 20. Okay, that's, pardon me, 320. But then you got to take away 7 from 320. That's a little more difficult than just taking 7 away from 20. Okay, so let's go 20 minus 7. I know that's 13. I'm guessing you probably did something similar on your page if you got that. What I did, similar to Mrs. Marta, I used that 7 and 3 to make the first 10. I need one more 10 to make 20. Okay, 20 minus 7 is 13, but then I got to bring that 300 over. I found the solution here. Don't forget that 300. So bring that 300 over. I'm trying my best to line these up so you can see them. And you can see the answer is going to be 313. You can bring the 0 and 3, 0 and 1, and the 3 with nothing. And then you can write it officially down there for your answer. 313. All good?
Good job if you got that right.
All right. Grade 3 work. It gets a little harder now. It's kind of more like the middle of grade 3, near the end of grade 3, I think. 651 minus 218. If you were successful at this one, you likely can be successful at this one. Just follow the same steps. And if you're just starting it, pretend it's like this and just start the same way. Start left to right. So first off, figure out where you're at. The ones column, the tens column, the hundreds column. So we're in the hundreds column to start. How many zeros in 100? Well, you got 2 of them. Hope you can still see that, Mrs. Marta. It's getting a bit thin here, the pen.
I can still see it.
6 minus 2. How many hundreds do you have left? 6 minus 2 is 4. So you have 400 remaining so far. We finished the hundreds. We're now into the tens column. How many zeros in a 10? Well, there's 1. Okay, 5. 5 tens minus 1 10. So 5 minus 1 is 4. So you have 40 remaining. And we're in the ones column, and I can see there's where our negative number is going to creep in. So we have an 8 and a 1. The negative number has a greater value than that top number. So it's going to be a negative answer in the ones column. What is the difference between 8 and 1? 8 minus 1 is 7. And if you love that number line solution, start at 1, count backwards 8 on that number line, and you end up on minus 7. So now we're in the same situation as we were over here. You could, if you wanted to, add 440 and get 440, but then you got to take away the 7. It's kind of a very large number and a small one. It gets kind of annoying. So get rid of it this way. I like to just do this. 40 minus 7. What is 40 minus 7? If you did this question already, which you're supposed to have done because it's the answers portion, you likely ended up on 33. If you did it like Mrs. Marta and I, we take that 7 and 3 to make that first 10, and you got to get to 40, so you need 30 more, 33. Then you got to remember, bring that 400 over to see what the solution is now. And they're both positive, so we just add them together. You have 433 is the answer. You can line up down here if you want to. Lining up, I mean, the ones column, we have a 0 and a 3 for 3, a 0 and a 3 and a 3 for the tens column, a 4 and a 0 for the hundreds column, 433. 433 is your answer. If you got that right, you're doing near the end of grade 3 work in math. Fantastic job. Now, the super challenge question. This was optional. This is a very hard question, and I didn't really give you any hints on how to solve it other than follow the same order. So let's do that. Let's follow the same order. For those of you, I wonder how many of you did this or how many are going to send it to me. I'm curious.
I'm curious too.
So we have 242 minus 487. Start off, where are we at? Ones column, tens column, hundreds column. Okay, so we're going to start with the hundreds. There's 2 zeros in 100. Now, how many hundreds do we have? We started with 2, and we took away 4. The negative numbers have crept in already. So the negative is greater than the positive. So we know the answer is going to be negative in the hundreds column this time. What's the difference between 4 and 2? 4 minus 2 is 2. Another way to look at it is I had 200 of something. I had 200 chess pieces. And I broke a whole bunch from a friend. I had to give him 400 more. Mr. Churchill had all his chess sets, and I broke them all. He needed 400. I only had 200. I give him 200. How much do I still owe him? I owe him 200 more. So that's another way to look at it. So we have a negative number there already. That's kind of crazy. Let's go into the tens column. Forget about the hundreds for now. It's just there. Tens column. Well, we know there's 1, 0, and 10. That's the easy part. Now let's go look at what we have. We started with 4. We got to take away 8. Okay, it's a negative number again because that negative value is greater than what you have. So even the tens now is going to be negative value. What is the negative value? What's 8 minus 4? What's the difference? 8 minus 4 is 4. So you had 4 of something. but you owe somebody 8. You only have 4. I give them 4. How much do I still owe them? I still owe them 4. So I'm still -4. In this case, we're talking the tens column, -40. Okay, well, now we got a -200 and a -40. All right, it's getting kind of crazy. Grade 5, grade 6, whatever it is. It's getting kind of crazy. Ones column, our last one. Let's forget about the hundreds, forget about the tens. Let's just look at the ones now. 2 minus 7. Again, negative number has a greater value, so we know it's going to be a negative in the ones column even. Okay, so what's the difference between 7 and 2? 7 minus 2 is 5. And this one you can count in the number line if you wanted to. You start at 2, you owe 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, counting backwards. You end up on -5. That's a very crooked line I drew there. So now we have -200, -40, and -5. They're all negatives. So what you have to do is add all those negatives together. You don't got to take anything away. They're all negatives. They're not being in contrast to the positive side. So just like when you have all positives, you add them together. Here you have all negatives. So we know the answer is going to be negative. It's going to be a negative number. Now let's just add it like we're doing expanded form. Look, 245. And you can add it down this way if you want to. 0 plus 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 plus 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 plus 0 plus 2 is 2. But because they're all negatives, it's a -245.
And it seems weird. It feels like you should subtract them when it's like that. But when they're all negative, you just put them together.
That's the one rule we're seeing who could figure it out. I wonder who got it. Because like Mrs. Marta says, all negatives, add them all together and your answer is negative.
Do you know what, Mr. Marta? I think Rexy's waiting on the couch to see them.
See what?
To see the kids.
Oh, let's head over there. Bye.
Good job. You made it all the way to the end. Hey, Rexy, did you know that T-Rex could grow up to 40 feet?
That's weird. I've only got 2.